Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the United States, and I have for you today a simple card using the Cottage Wreath stamp set and the Country Wreaths dies that coordinate with them. I am also using two of my favorite items from the current September to December mini catalog, the Deckled Circles dies and the beautiful All About Autumn Designer Series paper. I hope you like my card. Let's get started. Here is the card I designed for today, and I'm going to make one little change. I'm just going to change the color of the wreath that the leaves are on. And like I said, it uses the gorgeous All About Autumn Designer Series paper and the Deckled circles that are new in the mini catalog. So let's get started. I'm starting actually with a very vanilla card base, typical A2 or A4 size. Just going to grab my bone folder. And I've already cut the Designer Series paper down to size. So in Imperial, it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and in metric 10.5 by 14.9. We're going to put that right on with some multi-purpose liquid glue. And I've already cut a circle from the Deckled rectangles, and I'm going to bring the set of dies out so that I can show you which one I used. I love this because look at the number of dies and the different sizes from very small to very large. I believe this one is almost 6 inches wide, and that's about an inch or a couple of centimeters. And so this is the one that I used. So is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th smallest. And so that's the one that I used just so that I could show you. And we'll put that aside for now too. Now we're going to do some stamping, and I've got to start a Pecan Pie scrap, and I use scraps for everything. So for everything else, I guess including this too. So I looked to see what colors coordinated with the Designer Series paper, and that's how I chose the leaves and even this for the background of the wreath. But this actually, Pecan Pie, is not in, it doesn't say that it's in the paper pack, but I felt like it coordinated. I started off using Early Espresso, which is one of the colors that comes in the pack, and I thought it was just a little too dark, so I want to try it this time with the Pecan Pie because I think that's gonna work very well. So I'm going to bring in my ink pad. And now for the wreath stamp, I want to show you something. Here is the set, Cottage Wreaths, and comes with a couple of different wreaths and some sentiments and some other elements that you can decorate for Halloween, Thanksgiving, or fall and Christmas. And so we are actually going to do all 3 cards. We are going to do, I've got my simple card here with the autumn theme. I'm going to do an Avid card or a more stepped up card with a Christmas theme, and kind of an in-between card with the Halloween theme. So just so that you know that. But why I'm showing this is for this stamp, there is a little notch, and that's to show you, I'm going to show you in a minute, that's how we match them up with the dies. So what I did was, I'm going to flip this over so that you can see that it's this part right here that matches up with that notch, and that's going to help us to line up the die, like I said, and I'll show you that. But first we're going to stamp it. And that is all we need. Well, maybe we'll use it for the inside sentiment too. Well, maybe not. We'll use a different color for the inside one. So I think that's all we need with the Pecan Pie. And I'm going to put this aside because we're going to cut it out. And so, well, let me show you first, because I think it's important to know how to line up the die. So when you get your Country Wreaths dies out, you're going to see that this is the one that we need, and there is a notch on that as well. So that's what you need to line up. So this notch is going to line up on this side, because remember we flipped it over. And so it's pretty easy then, and we know it goes about here, and you can see, I can tell right away that this is lined up correctly because I can see all the little branches in there, and there are no white spaces. So like that you can tell is wrong because there's a big white space here. So this is how we're lining it up. because we matched the notches. So when I cut it out, that's how I'm going to have it. So I'm going to move that aside to help myself for later, but just to show you how easy it is. So you just have to pay attention. Those notches will help. So now we're going to bring in copper clay and we're going to do some stamping, tone on tone. We're going to bring in several scraps too. And we're just going to stamp 3 of them. And maybe we'll use copper clay for the inside sentiment while we have it here. So for the inside, we're going to use a sentiment from the set that says, some people just make life better. Make sure that's straight. And maybe we'll do some of the leaves too, but I think we'll do them in a different color from the copper clay. So we're done with that. Close that for now. The next scrap I have is Moody Mauve. Just make sure, of course, that you clean your stamp in between because we're using the same stamp, but in different colors. So there's the Moody Mauve. Next, we'll bring in crushed curry. And last but not least, Cajun Craze. And this time we're going to stamp 2 sets. So pick one color. Actually, maybe I will do what I did on this one. I did the crushed curry twice. So I think I'm going to bring that one back in and do it because I really like the brightness of the color. So I think that's what I'll do. You could do any color. So for one, just because what happens is you'll run one leaf short. So if you stamp one of the colors twice, then you can use one of those extra leaves, one of those extra 3, and you'll be all set. So that is it for our stamping, except for the stamping that we're going to do on the circle. But we'll do that in a second. I'm going to cut out all those leaves and the wreath, and then I will be right back. All right, so I've got everything cut out, and I did want to show you that there are actually 2 dies to cut the leaves out, which is nice because you can cut out 6 at once. And now let's start our assembly. So I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put everything on with glue dots. You could also use your multi-purpose liquid glue for this, but I'm using the glue dots for the leaves and they're handy, so that's what I'm going to use. And we'll place it maybe like this. And before we place the leaves, we're going to do the very last bit of stamping. So I have the sentiment that says grateful that comes from the set, and we're going to stamp that in the Pecan Pie. So put that right over here, and we'll center it. And there's our sentiment for the outside. And for the inside, we'll take that leaf stamp one more time, just so we don't forget. And you have a couple of options. You could use your markers and color each one differently, or you can just take one color, which is what I'm going to do today. Maybe we'll do the Moody Mauve. And we'll put those right here. And I would do the same thing on the front corner of the envelope. So we've got our inside done, and we're going to say we've got our envelope done. So now the next part is just to put these on the wreath, the leaves on the wreath. And I just spaced them out. I actually lined them up first before I tacked them down with the glue dots, but because I know how to lay them out, I'm just going to start by, and I alternated colors. So let's do this. And I alternated the style of the leaf too, because there are 3 different ones, so I just didn't have 2 the same next to each other. And basically where you see the tip of one, you're going to start the next one. And maybe we'll do this. You see I've got my extra one in crushed curry. So again, we'll just take all different ones. And then once we're done with the 4 colors, I just repeated the pattern. So I started back over with the Moody Mauve, like this, and continue around the card the same way. And I'm going to do that off camera. and be right back. And this time I was actually able to get them all on there without using the extra one. So I guess it depends a little bit on how you place them. So we're gonna go with that. And I think I do like the lighter, the Pecan Pie, better than the Early Espresso, but obviously personal preference, you can decide. So now we're gonna bring in an embellishment, which is the Wavy trim. And I've already cut a piece. It is just under 11 inches long, or 27 centimeters. And so now I'm gonna grab my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to put some on the back to hold that trim in place. And I'm going to fold it so both of the ends are kind of lying down toward the bottom. I don't know, however you want to say that. So they're not poking up. And we're going to lay that down about like that. Make sure that that's going to fit on the card, and it is. And now I'm going to use my dimensionals to pop it up and also to help hold this down. So on a big surface like this, I like to use my edges. So that's what I'm going to do for this card. Start by laying one right across the middle. And one here. And then another one on the other end. So that will help hold it in place, plus give your project some dimension. So I'll take the paper off and we'll pop that on right there. Make sure it's centered. And that is it. That is our card completed. And like I said, it's a simple one. So if you're watching this on YouTube, watch for my other video that has a stepped up or avid card using some of the same components, Cottage Wreath stamp set and Country Wreath dies. And I will use that to make a stepped up card that has a Christmas theme. So let me show you though, I showed you the stamp set and the dies. Let me show you the gorgeous designer series paper before we finish. These are the wonderful papers. Oh my goodness, I love them. Photographs. I love using designer series paper that's made from photographs. I think this one goes this way. And lots of colors and textures and everything. Whoops, that one goes that way. And then on the other side, it's specialty paper because there is, I think it's copper foiling. Those are those two. Let me show you the rest. See if I can grab them here. Just beautiful, a variety of colors and all that wonderful copper foiling. So let me bring in the other two so you can see them all together. Beautiful, that's why they're so popular, because they're gorgeous, each side more beautiful than the last. And so that is it. That is card number 1. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you watching my videos, leaving me some love in the comments. Remember that I have other cards, lots of other card videos, paper pumpkin alternatives that I do every month, tips, techniques, scrapbook pages, beginner videos. So hopefully you'll find something there to like. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And if you click on the bell, you'll be notified when I post a new video. Take care, everyone. Happy stamping.